In this video, I'm going to be discussing the lunar nodes in astrology. So, I'm doing a whole series of videos on the individual placements of the nodes in the different signs, and I think it's really, really important to do this video in general of what the nodes are about. The lunar nodes include the south node and north node. So these are two opposite points in astrology. And, it's really common. This sort of, rears over to Vedic astrology. We're sort of moving over to Vedic astrology, which is another type of astrology, but just in general. And their name for the south node and north node is K2 and Rahu. And so whenever you see astrologers referring to the South Node, and North Node as these names, then, you can know what they're talking about. So these travel, 180 degrees apart from each other, in opposite signs. So the North Node could be in Taurus and the South Node is in Scorpio, which is where the nodes are at the time that I'm filming this video. So these are not planets. These are 2 points that correspond to the moon. And so they change signs. So they move into signs. They move into a sign. The north node moves into a sign, and then the south node moves into a sign together on the same day, same time. And then they stay in that sign for 18 months. And they also move retrograde. So they start in at the 29th, the 29th degree of that sign. And then once the north node and south node hit that, 0 degree, then it's the end of their transit as opposed to the beginning. So the whole north node, south node cycle lasts about 18 to 19, 20 years, at most. So, that's, the time, every 18 years, every 18 and a half years or so, 19 years, you have your nodal return where the nodes come back to where they were in your birth chart, the same degree and also the minute, because how the speed at which they travel. And I have another video about this. So the whole cycle of the nodes transiting through every single polarity begins with the north node in Pisces and south node in Virgo, and ends with the north node in Aries and south node in Libra. And so, that's really the whole cycle. Eclipses, are lunations that are based off of the, north node and south node, profound times of transformation and, fated, events and, tremendous, huge steps forward in your growth. So, anyway, so how to identify the north node and south node in your natal chart? Obviously, you'll need to know, your birthday, your birth, time, place, location. All those things are really, really important to determine the signs that your nodes are in the north node and the south node, and then also the houses, and you can determine that more by your time of birth. And it's super important to have and know your exact birth time, because the houses could change, and you could get your house, find out that your north node was in your fifth house, but it's actually in your fourth house or sixth house, because you didn't know the exact, right birth time. So, that's why, That's really, really important to know. In the natal chart, to identify your south node and north node, they look like horseshoes. There's two kinds of nodes, the mean nodes and the true nodes that, both are accurate in different ways, and it depends upon what you use. They're pretty close in, their, degrees and distance to each other. Now, delving into what these nodes actually mean. So the south node points to karma. First of all, with karma, they say, you know, what you put out comes back to you. What goes around comes around. What and so it's what you're sort of bringing in to this lifetime, and it could possibly reflect the circumstances and situations and relationships that you have in your life experience in the early part of life. So, that's what I really want to emphasize here. So it relates to karma. First of all, sort of the past life lessons, the baggage, the experiences, really the soul memory that you're coming in with. That you may not remember what happened in the past life, but your soul sort of, remembers, and sort of carrying that imprint, into this lifetime with all those lessons that you have mastered. And the South Node points to things, in an area of life which is overworked and overdeveloped, and overdone, where you need to bring it into balance with your North Node. Because when you hear people talk about the North Node is it's not about abandoning the South Node and leaving it behind. It's about balancing both, balancing the qualities of your South Node to your North Node. So the South Node is also represented by the dragon's tail. And it deals with past lives. Or if you don't believe in past lives, I'm questioning whether I believe in that. Then it could also be, I'm stating that because that's how a lot of people look at the South Node. Quite a few astrologers look at it in that way. So I want to say that. So the South Node indicates sort of who you were in a past incarnation. And, it's sort of, your old identity. And also, the talents that you're bringing in, the skills that you're sort of bringing in to also teach others. That's really the high road of the South Node, where you can use the gifts of the South Node, the talents of your South Node, to, using the higher vibration, the higher qualities of your South Node, of what you're really, really good at, to then move into your North Node, and, move in that direction. So, um, you know, so it's sort of, you're teaching others, you're showing others the way, you're inspiring others, and you're guiding others, other people, from, the sign that your South Node is in. And so that's how, you can use the South Node in a really great, productive, and really huge way. So, the South Node points to the area of your life. This could be based on the sign and house placement that you're more naturally good at. It just comes naturally to you. It's familiar to you. It is, your comfort zone. And, whenever you hear comfort zone, you feel like you ought to get out of your comfort zone. And, the comfort zone can be great. It can be, really satisfying for you and, easy to go back to. But you're going to stay small. You're going to miss opportunities to grow, to evolve, to really step into the direction and the, destiny of where you were meant to go in this lifetime. So it can indicate, when you're staying stuck in your South Node path, you're, sort of, you can hit a dead end, where you're carrying this rock and, it's just let it go and then witness, the rainbow on top of the mountain of miracles, So, so much, good can happen when you release the burden, you release the aspects of the South Node that are not serving you and that are holding you back. Then you can really move into your North Node. So it's sort of like when you're staying in your South Node, you're sort of swimming in a fish tank. Not going. You can go over to one side and then the other side, but those are the limitations. So you're going to be more limited, and it's going to be sort of the same old feelings, and it's not going to be new. And your soul is really craving something new, a new adventure, something, just something, again, more meaningful. So, it's sort of a hamster wheel that you're sort of going around and around and around. That, if you believe in, you are in agreement with the whole school of thought about past lifetimes. Perhaps it's not just one lifetime that you have gone around in this hamster wheel, but it probably, from that perspective, it may have taken you lifetimes to master these traits and these characteristics and these lessons. And you're sort of repeating that over and over again. But in this lifetime, it's time for something different. It's time to find out what you're not good at and to, challenge yourself and to, get out of your comfort zone and move on a new path. So, um, the South Node also indicates the, as I said, I don't know if I've said this before, but the shadow side of the sign that it is in, and that is what you need to release and let go of. On the positive side, the South Node can be a place to land, to settle and relax into. And we all need to, have time at home. We all, need to go back home and, replenish and come back down to, what we're comfortable with, to then have, the energy, courage, and drive and motivation and, commitment to move in the direction of your North Node. And so, the very first astrologer that I followed, Deborah Silverman, was talking about the South Node as you staying in your home. This was her metaphor. Staying in your home in a comfy chair with, your slippers on and your, comfy, environment that you're used to. And then your North Node is your, you're going in a boat, and then you're finding, a North Star, and then you're, that's really her metaphor for that. And also, the North Node can be the North Star. Um, and, another metaphor with the nodal axis is a seesaw, of where if you go too far over to one end, then, you can't go any further. You would hit the ground. You would need to go the other direction. And it's really a balancing act where the scales move like this, if you can see my hands. It's super important to make sure that these nodes are in balance. Um, you know, so the South Node indicates the patterns, the habit patterns that you've been, rehearsing, practicing, acting out over and over, that you need to put a stop to, break, and try to curve. Um, you know, and the same sort of, like a situation comes up, and then you're so used to taking this approach, but really there's a better approach that is more right for you to take, based off of your North Node and based off of your soul. And I'm not here to tell you what is right for you, but it's right for you. And I really want you to step into your own truth and authenticity and autonomy. But um, it really comes down to maybe uh, possibly doing what is new, and what you're not sort of doing on autopilot. But if you do something different, if you do what you did, you're going to get what you got. So doing something different is super important with this. So the South Node holds you back from making the most of your life. If that, if you're staying stuck in that South Node, and you're not balancing that with your North Node. So if you have more planets in the sign of your South Node, then you can, it's easier to stay in your South Node, but that doesn't have to be, a negative thing. Maybe you were just meant to stay in your South Node more, this lifetime. And so, every natal chart is perfect, and whoever designed your natal chart was not, angry or frustrated or irritated, or, didn't want to, curse or destroy, or challenge, or, give you the short end of the stick. It's really for you to step into your purpose. So, and the South Node does not have to be all negative. And also, the North Node, which is opposite the South Node, always opposite the South Node. If that is not balanced out with the South Node, the negative qualities of the North Node is the need for, more and more and more. And you know, moving in these new directions, but, you're not sort of coming back to your South Node. So, it deals with, old ways of being, comfort zone, what you're familiar with. That's what it deals with. Now, the North Node is known as Dharma, or the Dragon's Head, or the New Node, as I call it. Because it's something new for yourself and your soul. So it points to your desire to become greater than you already are, and your real craving for more. To experience more, to live a bigger, more fulfilling life. And it really relates to who you're meant to become in this lifetime. Your potential. What is the potential? The North Node points to your potential. It points to your destiny, the direction of wisdom and happiness, and contentment and inner peace. And so it deals with the lessons that you came in to learn, and in addition to Saturn, which indicates your life lessons and your purpose. But the North Node is in addition to this. So the North Node can certainly indicate your soul purpose in this lifetime. And so this is a soul calling, and it may be difficult to reach it. It may be uncomfortable, new territory, but it's so important to move in this direction. And if you want a meaningful life, then it's so important to follow your north node. So that is my what I have to say about these nodes, the north node and south node. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Please like this video, share it, and I will see you in another one. Bye, everybody.